Good afternoon, everybody. Y buenas tardes. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas a todos y todas. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sapna Gupta, and I'm with MAG, and my colleague Elsa Belgine is here with me as well. We welcome you to the 9th Annual Ari-Son Council, and we're delighted you're here. Before we get started, though, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. There are interpretation services to my right, to your left, and they'll be doing simultaneous interpretation from English to Spanish, as well from Spanish to English. So please feel free to walk over and get interpretation little kit. You will need to give your driver's license and number. And Elsa, would you like to say this in Spanish?
Thank you. Bienvenidos. Les recordamos que pueden obtener en la mesa a la entrada sus auriculares de servicio de interpretación simultánea inglés-español. Este evento se va a llevar a cabo en inglés y en español. Entonces, si pueden pasar a la mesa que está al lado del servicio de interpretación, se les va a solicitar una identificación oficial y su número telefónico. Gracias.
Couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We have the bathrooms are outside and to your right. And if you can, please silence your cell phones. The agenda and speaker bios are at your table. And we encourage you to share your thoughts on social media and use the hashtag Ari-Son22 and follow the social media accounts displayed on the screen. I would now like to introduce the immediate past chair of the Maricopa Association of Governments Economic Development Committee, also a member of MAG's Regional Council and the Regional Council Executive Committee, the Honorable Mayor Alexis Hermosillo, Mayor of the City of El Mirage, who will be the Master of Ceremonies of the meeting. Mayor of the City of El Mirage, Alexis Hermosillo, since 2018. She is the youngest Latina elected as mayor of a city where nearly 50% of the population is of Latino descent, and she was recently re-elected. Congratulations, Mayor. Please see Mayor Hermosillo's full bio for her impressive career. Mayor Hermosillo, thank you so much for joining us and for being today's MC. You now have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Subna. We are honored that our distinguished guests are here, and together we can celebrate our strong binational ties. This meeting is organized by the Ari-Son Council, a binational council of elected officials from Arizona and Sonora, Mexico. This is the 9th edition of this meeting, and I am delighted to say that the first in-person meeting after a period of 2 years. Last year, we hosted 2 virtual events, the first in the spring and the last one during the fall. These meetings focus on the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic in our shared economies and the development of strategies to collaborate and move our binational region forward. I would like to thank all the elected officials joining us from the different cities, towns, and native nations in Arizona and Sonora. If you are an elected official, could you please stand up to be recognized? Thank you so much for being here. For some elected officials, this is their first time attending the Ari-Son Council. And if so, if this is your first time, please remain standing or stand up once again so we can welcome you. Again, thank you so much for being here. The Ari-Son Council was created in 2014 with the goal of expanding local government connections and exchanging best practices for the betterment of our shared region and our countries. This council provides a forum to elevate the voice of local leadership on binational policy matters. Council members work to identify areas of opportunity and potential cross-border collaboration. Thank you for joining us in the effort to engage in important conversations regarding our relations with Mexico and the opportunities to work together on infrastructure, tourism, and economic development. To initiate this discussion, I have the honor of introducing the Honorable Jerry Wires, Mayor of the City of Glendale, the city hosting us today, and the Consul General Jorge Mendoza Yescas from the Consulate of Mexico in Phoenix. Mayor Wires was elected mayor of the city of Glendale in 2013 and is a member of the MAG Regional Council. Before being elected mayor, he served 4 terms in the Arizona State Legislature, during which he chaired the Natural Resources, Military Affairs and Public Safety, and Rules Committees. You can find the full bios of our distinguished speakers at your tables. Mayor, the Ari-Son Council thanks the League of Arizona Cities and Towns and your city for your gracious hospitality in hosting the conference and this meeting. Please help me in welcoming Mayor Wires to the podium.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here with the Ari-Son panel today. I view the Ari-Son Binational Council as an entity and an effort of high strategic importance that benefits cities and towns on both sides of our border. I would like to welcome our friends who are visiting here from the state of Sonora. We all thank you for being such incredible partners to Arizona. And if there's anything that I can do to help you or your citizens be successful, and I sincerely mean this, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way that I possibly can. I do want you to know that Sonora does hold a special place in my heart. A saying that I do live by, amigos ayudando amigos. I hope I said that correctly. For the people that don't speak Spanish very well, friends helping friends. That being said, I recently led an effort with the city of Sonora in partnership with local business, Maricopa Ambulance, to donate a refurbished ambulance to our friends from Sonora. As a matter of fact, I'll be heading to Sonora in mid-October to meet with my counterpart, Municipal President Luis Enriquez Valdez-Reyes. Where are you at? Welcome to Glendale. He's got my challenge going. Very good. So I'll match that coin. You owe me a Diet Coke. Hold on a second, folks. It's an inside thing. Okay, you owe me a Diet Coke. So mayores, they refer to their mayor as the municipal presidente. So for the American mayors, if we were in Mexico, we'd be presidents. How cool would that be, right? Please stand and be recognized if you're a municipal presidente. Please stand and be recognized. Yeah. Gracias. I also had the privilege of working with the previous mayor of the city of Puerto Penasco on 2 separate occasions a few years ago to have 3 police vehicles donated through a partnership with local businesses here in Glendale. And it's my hope that these actions will not only foster quality relationships with our neighbors, but may also play a role in helping to save the lives of Mexican residents and also Arizonans that visit Mexico that are either on vacation or they're on business. As we all know, Mexico is Arizona's biggest trading partner. In 2021, the U of A reported that Arizona's bilateral trade with Mexico was $17.5 billion. You know, folks, that's a big number. Of that number, 8.2 billion were exports. That means Arizona businesses, ultimately Arizona families, prosper because of that trade. So I look forward to continuing partners with our friends from the state of Sonora, and I welcome you to Glendale with open arms, and I thank all of you for joining us here for this important work, cultivating our strategic partnership. And just so you know, as the host city of the mayor, I will have to leave our meeting here shortly, as some of the other mayors in Arizona may have to. We do have a vote coming up. But of course, I'll be here as long as I can. Again, sir, I'm looking forward to going to your city so we can officially welcome you with a new ambulance for your city. And again, amigos, ayudando amigos. Friends helping friends. Thank you. Did I say that right?
Thank you, Mayor Wires, for being with us today and for your valuable contribution to our binational region. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Jorge Mendoza Yescas, Consul General of Mexico in Phoenix. Consul Mendoza was appointed by the President of Mexico in March of 2019, and since then has done amazing work promoting the reinstatement of the Mexican consular ID as an official identification for Mexican nationals in Arizona. Please help me to welcome Consul Mendoza.
Muy buenas tardes a todas y todos. Un gusto ver a tantos amigos de ambos lados de la frontera, que estar aquí reunidos. Y bueno, I'm honored to be here in Glendale to participate in this year's meeting of the Ari-Son Council. So I would like to express my gratitude to the League of Arizona. Okay, thank you. For organizing this event and for the invitation to participate in this year's edition. I'm delighted to collaborate in this event with noteworthy elected officials from both Arizona and Sonora, as well as with remarkable speakers in the economic and touristic fields. Despite the many institutional barriers that cities and towns face when entering the international political arena, forums like these are clear evidence of the evolving role such actors play in today's hyper-competitive world of global policy making and governance. Cities are discovering ways to act as autonomous, independent actors in their own right and making efforts to influence and shape international agendas with increasing success. The Ari-Son Council provides an unmatched space for advancement of transnational municipal networking, which in turn allows local actors to tackle regional and global issues in an era of increased partisan gridlock. Cities are not only more attuned to the needs of their electorate and less partisan when it comes to working across aisles and borders, but they are also more ambitious in pushing forward bold humanity-saving agendas. The Arizona Sonora mega region can play a key role to overcome the challenges posed by climate change, inequality, migration, affordable housing, infectious pandemics, among others. The time for cooperation and joint action is today. As the economies of the states of Sonora and Arizona continue to thrive, it is imperative to advance projects that consolidate our mega region as one of the most competitive and innovative of our continent. This can only be achieved through collaboration among the private sector, public officials, academia, and civil society. Let us be vocal about our state's needs and opportunities, and continue working towards a more efficient, sustainable, and competitive mega region. So it is a pleasure to participate here today in this event, and I hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Consul Mendoza, for these important words and for your significant efforts to strengthen our ties in Arizona and Sonora. We will need a photo with you with your certificate of appreciation if you do not mind. Thank you so much. All right, for our next segment of the meeting, I would like to introduce the Honorable Kate Gallego, Mayor of the City of Phoenix, and Ana Maria Arque Castellanos, Council Member of the City of Hermosillo, who will discuss binational collaboration opportunities. Mayor Gallego previously worked on strategic planning and economic development for the Salt River Project, was elected to the Phoenix City Council in 2013, and as mayor in 2019. Kate Gallego also serves as vice chair of the Maricopa Association of Governments Regional Council. Councilmember Ana Maria Araque is the president of the Women's Commission of Coparmex Sonora Norte. In June 2021. She joined the Hermosillo City Council and is currently president of the city's Economic Development Commission. The Ari-Son Council welcomes both of you, and we look forward to hearing from you. And now, without further ado, I would like to welcome Mayor Gallego, so please help me in welcoming her to the stage. You're welcome to stay. Thank you so much. I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. It's such a pleasure to be with you. Mayor Hermosillo, thank you for your leadership on our binational collaboration and economic development. I am excited to be joined by Phoenix Councilwoman Ann O'Brien, who represents us at the Maricopa Association of Government Economic Development Committee. So, Councilwoman O'Brien, thank you for your leadership on this important partnership. And we are so pleased to be here with our sister city of Hermosillo. We have so much to celebrate, and it's been a very exciting time for all of us. Binational collaboration continues to be a huge economic driver for us. We have such strong industry ties in a variety of industries, from aerospace, automotive. I'm very excited about semiconductor, healthcare, and it continues to grow. I got my start with binational work when before running for office. I worked at the Salt River Project, and we did a lot of binational collaboration through the Arizona-Mexico Commission on water policy, which is growing increasingly important to our entire region, so appreciate the partnership in that area. Among my job at that time was to make sure there was water and coffee in the room, so whoever got the water and coffee today, thank you, and maybe you'll be mayor too. We are celebrating $2 billion in exports by Phoenix area businesses from 2020 to Mexico, which is incredible, and even more important, 88% by small business. In our region, small business is big business, and I want to brag a little bit about one of our partnerships with our Consul General on entrepreneurship. Next week, we will be kicking off our third round of a class of a program that brings women entrepreneurs from Mexico to the Phoenix area. It's a great program for the women of Mexico that we originally launched in 2020 with a focus on equity and making sure that everyone benefited from these binational relationships. Women have developed great expansion plans, designed marketing campaigns. 9 of every 10 program graduates have experienced an increase in clients and an increase in sales and profits, and his work has now become a model for consul generals throughout the United States, and it started right here in the greater Phoenix area. So thank you for putting us first and then making us role models. We also had a very exciting year in Phoenix with our relationship with Hermosillo. We rededicated our trade office, and it's been enormously successful. That rededication happened in March, and since then we have assisted 62 businesses in northern Mexico. And Antonio, if you could wave if anyone wants to do work between Phoenix and Hermosillo, he can help you on the Hermosillo side, and we appreciate that partnership very much. Some examples include an architecture firm from Phoenix that was able to set up office in Hermosillo. The councilwoman and her colleagues helped them get through building permits. They are doing more business with Hermosillo and also helping. We have a little bit of a need for architects here, and the architects in Mexico are helping us meet some of the challenges we have with being a growing city. And that is just one of many examples of offices that we've been able to set up together with binational collaboration. Another one in the software area, which is another big area of expansion in both of our communities. And I hear it's not a competition, but that we may have stolen some jobs from Utah. We had a unanimous vote this week with the Phoenix City Council in support of a great partnership we have with Arizona Fresh, which is locating its Agritech campus in South Phoenix, 1,500 jobs. It is right on the Salt River. For those of you who are visiting our city, it was really, we exist because of the Salt River and the economic development associated with the farms around there. It is our city's roots, and it's been a real priority of the council to also make sure it is our city's future. In economic development, we believe that if you have a couple catalytic investments, it can really change an entire area, and we're very hopeful that AgriFresh will help us with the major reinvestment in our riverfront corridor. It's a great project that Arizona State University helps us a lot with, Rio Reimagined, and thanks to investment from Mexico, we think we can catalyze big change in that area. It also helps us address a food desert. We have an area where we don't have as much fresh fruit, healthy vegetables in our community, and so that will help us on the health side. There'll be a recreation component in addition to the great jobs. So that's just one example of how that collaboration benefits both of us. I've got to compete a little bit with Glendale, and we are also trying to do investments on the healthcare side. Project Cure, in partnership with our Phoenix Sister Cities Committee in Hermosillo, facilitated the donation of $500,000 in medical supplies and equipment, including a skin grafting machine that will help burn victims in Hermosillo. My partner and leader at the City on Sister Cities, Rita Marco, is here, and please tell the committee how proud we are of them for that great work. I think we have several Sister City commissioners who are here today and who have supported that, including Emilio Gaynor, who has done great work in that area. In another previous life, I worked at the Arizona Office of Tourism. I promise I can hold the job. It was 10 years at SRP, so lots of stability. But when I was at the Arizona Office of Tourism, it was a priority to make sure that we mutually benefit from tourism and visitors, and we see how much that has mattered to all of the communities represented in here. On average, Arizona Office of Tourism has found that each visitor spends close to $1,000. We have 84% of visitors for leisure and 16% for business. I think it's a goal of many of us in here to continue to increase the percent for business because we benefit so much, but we're all in favor of leisure. And if you're looking for a next time to visit, Super Bowl is coming up in the city of Glendale, but there will be events in all of the neighboring cities. We have a lot of the free ones in Phoenix, so important to note. We last hosted in this region in 2015, and there was a significant Mexican partnership and presence that we celebrated, including, it was the first time in the game's history that festivities were sponsored by international business and government, and that's a real point of pride for us, one that we hope to only expand. And I should note that there's been a little bit of a trend with the home team winning the Super Bowl, and I hope we also continue that one. Staying on the topic of sports, in December we are planning a trip to Hermosillo that will introduce residents to Winter League Baseball and the culinary capital of Sonora. I was trying to convince my dad to watch my 5-year-old so I could go, but it turns out he's going instead. So there you go. That's what a good trip it will be. We also are getting ready to celebrate the start of Hispanic Heritage Month, and Consul General Mendoza-Yescas has been a major partner of us on that celebration. We will have a Fiestas Patrias on Adams Street right next to City Hall, which has become a really favorite tradition for the City of Phoenix and my council colleagues who take the lead and do a great job on that event. So we got business, we got fun, we got good food, and it's just been a wonderful partnership. So I want to thank everyone in the room who's made it possible, but in particular our sister city of Hermosillo. Lots to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego, for your insightful remarks about the Ari-Son region and binational opportunities. And now we would like to turn the mic over to Councilmember Araque with the City of Hermosillo.
Well, good afternoon, all. I'm very happy to see a lot of friends. It's been a long time that we're all together in the same room. And this time it is an honor and a privilege to be able to attend to this great event in representation of the City of Hermosillo and our Mayor, Antonio Astiazaran. and be with so many people interested in our mutual relationship with Arizona, Sonora, and Hermosillo and Phoenix. First and foremost, I would like to extend from everyone in Hermosillo, our Mayor Antonio Estazaran, and me personally, our warm greeting to all, and special thanks to our great friend and ally, Mayor Kate Gallegos, for the wonderful relationship that the cities of Hermosillo and Phoenix have and continue to grow. Thank you to the League of Cities and for Maricopa Association of Governments for your great work, putting this event and making it happen year after year. Hermosillo values all the relationships that have been created and help us grow in business, education, and society as a whole. We look forward to the continued work we can accomplish by working together. I invite everyone here present to see Hermosillo as a friend and as an ally in our endeavors to grow our region. In this new global economy, it is important that we grow together so that we may be more competitive. It is clear that logistics and supply chain procurement are of the utmost importance if we are to succeed in the new world economy. Hermosillo is here to work with all of you, and you're always welcome in our city. I see many friends, and I look forward to talking to you on how we can take steps to strengthen this relationship and competitiveness together. I also look forward to meeting new friends so that we may know each other better and find ways to collaborate and grow. We have much things in common. And for example, one of the greatest things of the region, like Hermosillo, it's called the City of the Sun. And right now we're at the Valley of the Sun. So let us embrace together the sun, the solar energy, and that's why our mayor and the city of Hermosillo is putting together the next World Solar Forum in Hermosillo, from City of the Sun to Solar City. So we welcome you in Hermosillo next November 16 and 17. We look forward for many of companies from here, from the Valley, to come to Hermosillo and partner up and promote all your businesses around renewable energy. Let's continue being great friends and also great business partners. I now leave you with Mayor Antonio Estazaran's video, who sends us a message, and thank you very much.
Compañeras y compañeros, quienes como yo tienen el compromiso de representar las prioridades de sus comunidades. Estimada Kate Gallego, alcaldesa de Phoenix, ciudad hermana de Hermosillo, Sonora, con la que desde hace años mantenemos una relación estrecha y colaborativa, tanto por nuestros vínculos sociales y familiares. Este esfuerzo transfronterizo que nos permite dialogar con nuestros pares e integrantes de otros niveles de gobierno de ambos lados de la línea que compartimos, es una oportunidad invaluable para vigorizar nuestras relaciones, tanto entre personal de servicio público como de la sociedad empresarial y emprendedora. Una congregación que sí puede traducir en lazos más fuertes nuevas estrategias e intercambios de ideas que estimulen el desarrollo económico de sur a norte y de norte a sur. De estos diálogos nos hemos beneficiado en muchos ámbitos. A partir de la primera parte de este año, Phoenix tiene su oficina de enlace en Hermosillo, desde donde buscamos crear oportunidades en ambas ciudades y fortalecer la que ya asentamos para así aprovechar nuestra conectividad y mejorar los procesos nearshoring que unen a nuestra región. Este junio pasado, en Tucson, Arizona, 25 elementos de la Policía Municipal de Hermosillo se capacitaron por las agencias FBI y la de Investigaciones Criminales Digitales y Robo de Vehículos. Y Hermosillo también ha sido anfitrión. En junio recibimos a la Asociación de Gobiernos del Condado de Maricopa, fortaleciendo redes entre instancias gubernamentales, educativas y empresariales, Conocimos nuestras posibilidades de realizar negocios y de crear cadenas de valor que no están restringidas por los límites fronterizos. En esa ocasión, tuvimos el foro binacional de Nearshoring, donde les afirmé que las puertas del gobierno municipal están siempre abiertas. También cómo estamos buscando que Hermosillo sea certeza y que se puede invertir y facilidades sin corrupción, atendiendo la transparencia y sobre todo de forma ágil y rápida. En esa ocasión me acompañaron los directores de las dos agencias que creamos de esta administración y que abonan a los objetivos de este consejo, las titulares de la Agencia Municipal de Desarrollo Económico y por supuesto también la de la Agencia de Energía y Cambio Climático. Quisiera que ese reajuste del gobierno municipal sirva como evidencia de que nos tenemos muy en serio aquí en Hermosillo nuestros compromisos. Es justo con energía y cambio climático que quiero cerrar mi participación. La importancia de atender estos temas nos compete a todas y a todos, independientemente de dónde ubiquemos, si representamos a la iniciativa privada o al propio gobierno. Me gusta pensar que en Hermosillo somos ejemplos del uso de energía y tecnología limpia. Trabajamos para aprovechar nuestra ubicación geográfica y el potencial de generación de energía limpia y renovable que nos otorga, por lo que implementamos el uso de paneles solares en edificios gubernamentales, pozos que nos abastecen el agua potable y también, por supuesto, somos ya el primer municipio mexicano en tener 220 patrullas eléctricas en circulación que se cargan con energía solar y que además habremos de implementar programas que faciliten la dotación de paneles solares a viviendas, tanto particulares como a negocios locales. Aunado a todo lo anterior, en noviembre de este año reuniremos la experiencia e ideas de destacados conferencistas de talla internacional en el Foro Mundial de Energía Solar. Hermosillo será sede de este evento de carácter internacional denominado De la Ciudad del Sol a la Ciudad Solar. Aprovecho para invitarles a todas y a todos a que nos honren con su presencia durante este foro, ya que sean gobiernos municipales, empresas mexicanas o de Arizona, esperamos contar con su participación y que esta sirva pues para reunir a los principales proveedores de la industria. Espero que lo que hoy es un diálogo, el siguiente año sean resultados y nuevas discusiones sobre cómo complementarnos. Gracias por su tiempo y recuerden que siempre Hermosillo los espera con los brazos abiertos. Que la frontera no sea ya una barrera, sino un pretexto para reunirnos.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Araque, for your insightful remarks. Thank you so much. We would like to thank both Mayor Gallego and Councilmember Araque, as well as Mayor Astiazaran, for their very timely and thought-provoking remarks and presentation. You continue to set the path forward and lead projects that inspire us all. Please accept this certificate as a token of our appreciation. Mayor Gallego and Councilmember Araque. All right. Up next is the Executive Director of Mexico Relations of Arizona State University, Paola Garcia Hidalgo, who will discuss developing a competitive workforce for the Ari-Son region. Originally from Sonora, Mrs. Garcia currently develops strategic collaboration opportunities with Mexican government agencies, universities, and nonprofit organizations, as well as U.S. agencies with presence in Mexico. Now, please help me to welcome Paola Hidalgo. Is it here? Oh, click here. Over here.
Buenas tardes, afternoon. Thanks to Mac for the invitation. It's been a while, I agree with Anita. I'm a Sonoran, very proud, and I really appreciate the opportunity of being with leaders of Arizona and Sonora today. For my intervention, developing a competitive workforce for the Ari-Son region, I'd like to start with reviewing main economic indicators that speak to historic integration, and then discuss workforce development and new opportunities. Is it? Just let me. Well, an overview of Arizona and Mexico trade. We see that last year, exports reached 8.1 billion and imports 9.3 billion, and both of them recovering from 2020. In the US context, Arizona ranks 5 in exports to Mexico and 8 imports from Mexico. And this highlights the role of Arizona as a driving force connecting North America, and also the role of Mexico. Mexico is the main partner for both exports and imports, with about 34% of the outputs in both cases. About the goods. We can see in this list different sectors. I'll mention a few because I know the font is so small. But Arizona basically exports minerals, computer and electronic products, and imports agricultural products, electrical equipment. And through these, we can see that Arizona and Mexico complement each other. Their economies complement each other. And also, the category here, electrical equipment in both sides, in possibly near the same amount, speaks to an important concept called the shared production. You know, under the NAFTA and USMC, many American companies established operations in Mexico, mainly to add processes, not to sell to the Mexico domestic market. And that causes some sectors to ship back and forth products. For instance, auto parts cross 8 times the US-Mexico border before becoming a final product. And it's estimated that about 40% of Mexican imports is US content. A big takeaway here I like to emphasize is that Sonora is an asset to Arizona, and vice versa. Among many things, Sonora brings to the table cost efficiency and talent, and Arizona is the door to the massive US market and the world. So any strategy for workforce development will be most beneficial if considers the assets and capabilities on both sides. Well, Sonora's trade overview, about 80% of the exports go to the US, and about 61% of imports come from the US. Border crossings, last year, 17 billion people almost crossed the border at the different Arizona's ports of entry. This speaks about the high activity that is integrated in multiple ways, social, familial, etc. And switching the topic now to workforce development, I like to keep it as an Arizona-wide focus. So on this, I like first to acknowledge that there are multiple efforts from the federal government, state government, city-level governments, of course, the 3 state universities, community colleges, organizations, companies. All of them provide very important resources for workforce development in the short term and the long term, ranging from, in the short term, from open, free online courses all the way to pathways, and long-term for degrees, both bachelor's and graduate. A couple of highlights I'd like to mention are that first, the global e-learning market reached 315 billion last year and is growing rapidly. This speaks about flexibility. People are going online because this is the main way to earn skills. So we want people to upskill, reskill, continue to earn degrees, and that has been the channel. And also, I like to emphasize one of the options here, stackable digital credentials, speaks to a new trend. Blockchain-verified credentials combined with formal education and work experience and attending conferences, maybe many things, help people now to be visible to employers who may enter qualifications desired in a person, and those who choose to have a robust, digitally verified resume and be visible will be there in the short list. This is impacting the way of hiring practices. What else is needed? I noted here a couple of suggestions for the council to consider. Again, acknowledging that there are multiple efforts here that I haven't mentioned, I will say, continue to stimulate the demand on the fields that Ari-Son requires. Not because all of these efforts are available means that people are enrolling in the fields needed in Ari-Son. And also continue to foster a culture that embraces the digital transformation, STEM, water, and other key fields. Many people feel fearful of tech-driven changes, and these changes are happening. So I suggest here to the council to consider, design, and create short videos, 30 seconds, something simple to disseminate, in which the leaders here decide what to inform to the people, not only to remove fears, but to guide them in what are the opportunities and assets of the two states, and guide them to the resources so they continue their development. And in this, acknowledging also that many people may be informed and motivated, but we need a culture because many of us might find challenging to set aside time to study. Me first. So this is a culture in which, honestly, the concept of lifelong learning is here to stay. The ways to learn all of these options here in the short term mentioned are not the way we used to learn a while ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. Now there is virtual reality, there are intelligent adaptive platforms and many other tools that improve the learning experience, but also the way people operate. And I want to finish saying our president, Michael Crow, in a year and a half ago, restructured ASU, and one of the three pillars is called Learning Enterprise. And that unit offers amounts of services for both, especially they're dedicated in what he calls the K through gray. So this is a culture that we need to move forward. I want to mention new opportunities. We had all of these sectors already growing that we saw in the trade, but now we have exciting times in which the federal government has now brought the attention and to strategize how the semiconductor sector in the US should grow and set aside resources for that. Mexico's government has also committed to expand the semiconductors industry to solidify supply chains in North America. At the state level, the New Economy Initiative that many of you have supported is also a way through which ASU is helping Arizona to have the resources for workforce development. I'd like to mention here, ASU has been working diligently in the last few years, and last year in August, the Schools of Engineering launched a new school called School of Manufacturing Systems and Networks. This is a photo of the website, especially designed to educate talent in the semiconductor, microelectronics, and related fields. And of course, they offer all kinds of open courses, short course certifications for workforce development in this very mentioned topic and huge opportunity for us. Couple of examples of ASU workforce development activities with Sonora. One includes the ASU Tecnológico de Monterrey binational capstone, engineering capstone. We have been working for 2 years, mixing teams of ASU students and Tec de Monterrey Campus Zona Norte students who are part of the Industrial and Systems Engineering major. They form combined teams. They have the support of faculty members from both universities and mentors from Norson. And the students are reporting great feedback. They're saying, first, they not only appreciate the opportunity to put in practice what they have learned through their majors, but also they say, I practice my English, my Spanish, and I feel much more confident about working in a binational setting. This is, the Mexican side says, I am a team member with an American engineer and I feel colleague at the level. And the same for the ASU side. They say, I feel much more confident about working in a company established in Mexico. So we're here generating groups of engineers well-versed in the binational Arizona-Sonora region. And we received similar feedback from students of Unison, with whom we have a program through which we allow some spaces for students to enter online courses. And they're saying feedback such as, I love being exposed to new ways of learning and also having classmates all over the world. As my conclusions, developing a competitive workforce in Arizona is supported by multiple available resources, and in my humble opinion, we need to stimulate the demand for the key fields and the culture. So we not only are aware, but also are a magnet, that we help build a scenario in the Ari-Son region that supports us having educated talent ready to take on more opportunities. So here, any joint scenario we build together will have to leverage the assets on both sides. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director Hidalgo, for your participation in this year's meeting. That was a very informative presentation. I sure did learn a lot, so thank you so much for sharing that information with us. We would like to present you with the Certificate of Appreciation for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you so much. All right, the next item on our meeting agenda focuses on tourism, economic development, and public policies. I would like to call to the stage our participants of this year's elected officials panel discussion. Representing the City of Guaymas, Mayor Carla Cordova. Representing the City of Glendale, Council Member Ray Melnar. Representing the Town of Oro Valley, Mayor Joe Winfield. Representing the City of Agua Prieta, Mayor Jesus Montaño. And moderating this panel is the State of Sonora Representative in Arizona, David Figueroa. Mr. Figueroa serves as a liaison of the Sonoran interests in Arizona. He is the former Consul General of Mexico in San Jose and Los Angeles in California. Also a former member of the Mexican Congress representing the state of Sonora. Mr. Figueroa and dear panelists, thank you for joining us today. And we will continue with the panel as agendized.
Thank you, Mayor Hermosillo. Buenas tardes. Muchas gracias, compañeros, por estar acá. I would like to introduce the Mayor of the City of Guaymas, Carla Cordova. Dr. Cordova was the Chief of the Medical Staff of the State of the Sonora Health Services Department. She also served as the Director of the City of Guaymas Public Health Department before taking office in 2021. Mayor Cordova has shared with us a video to provide an overview of Guaymas tourism and economic outlook. Please take a look.
En Guaymas, estamos listos para crecer contigo. Conocida como la Perla del Desierto, la ciudad de Guaymas cuenta con 8 universidades calificadas entre las mejores del país, por lo que contamos con el recurso humano cualificado para el desarrollo de las empresas que llegan a este puerto. Guaymas tiene una ubicación estratégica privilegiada con acceso por aire, mar y tierra. Descubre el mundo de oportunidades que tienes a tu alcance en el noroeste de México para la entrada y salida de productos y mercancías. A través de la administración del Sistema Portuario Nacional, te conectamos con el mercado de Sudamérica y Asia, ya que contamos con un área de 20,000 metros cuadrados para contenedores y más de 8,000 metros cuadrados techados. Tenemos vía de acceso rápido a la carretera 15 y a la línea ferroviaria principal que lleva a Nogales, Sonora, a una distancia de tan solo 390 kilómetros. En la industria maquiladora contamos con 35 clientes internacionales del sector aeroespacial, automotriz, electrónica, médica y mucho más, generando así grandes posibilidades de expansión y crecimiento a tus próximos proyectos de producción. La industria pesquera es de las más importantes a nivel nacional por su producción de camarón de exportación. Sus increíbles atardeceres, sus playas, sus cerros y montañas convierten a San Carlos en el lugar único para visitar todo el año. Además, cuenta con una terminal internacional de cruceros dentro de la bahía de Guaymas. Si buscas una oportunidad de negocio o simplemente descansar, a Guaymas lo tienes que conocer. Estamos listos para brindarte lo mejor.
Gracias, Mayor. Es tu turno.
Muy buenas tardes a todos los participantes en este foro. Muchísimas gracias por la invitación. Estamos muy contentos de estar en esta ciudad con un clima muy parecido al que tenemos en nuestro municipio y un desarrollo increíble. Es para nosotros un honor estar representando al municipio de Guaymas. Como ya lo pudimos apreciar en el video, Guaymas es una tierra privilegiada. Es una tierra en la que geográficamente se mezclan todos los ecosistemas. Tenemos un valle de Guaymas que se encarga de la agricultura y todos los productos son de exportación. También tenemos un casco urbano que tiene una empresa con más de 15,000 empleos directos que se encarga de la manufactura. Es una empresa reconocida a nivel mundial, que es Tetacawi. También contamos con un área no menos importante, que es el área de la etnia yaqui. Contamos nosotros con 6 pueblos, de los 8 que existen. La etnia yaqui pues se encarga de la pesca y de la agricultura, pero sobre todo de luchar y conservar sus raíces. Para nosotros es muy importante el plan de nuestro presidente Andrés Manuel López Obrador, que ha sido muy generoso con el municipio, que es el plan de justicia yaqui, en donde sin perder sus raíces llegarán las políticas públicas adecuadas para que ellos tengan un mejor desarrollo económico, con todos esos apoyos que necesitan para tener siembra que le dé de comer a toda la tribu, y que estén los niños mejor alimentados para tener niños más inteligentes. Eso sin contar que los yaquis son gente muy inteligente, muy recia y de mucho trabajo y de mucho esfuerzo por conservarse. La otra área que también me encanta, que los invito a conocerla, es San Carlos. San Carlos Nuevo Guaymas es un lugar en donde los que vivimos ahí disfrutamos inmensamente del mar, del cielo y del desierto. Se juntan estos 3 componentes para hacerte pasar momentos maravillosos. Es calificado como el mejor atardecer del mundo y no es por nosotros, sino por una revista muy prestigiada. Entonces, es un honor ser la presidenta municipal de Guaymas. También quiero decirles que es un honor para mí estar en el lugar indicado y en el momento indicado. Ya era rico de forma natural Guaymas, pero con nuestro gobernador, el doctor Alfonso Durazo, el desarrollo económico llegó a Guaymas. Él lo mencionó toda su campaña. Yo le decía, por favor, ya no diga eso porque me pone más difícil el reto, que Guaymas sería la palanca económica para todo el estado de Sonora. Por lo tanto, están ya listos para ese puerto que vieron, a Cipona. Guaymas es un puerto de altura, va a crecer muchísimo, ya están listos los dragados. También va a haber una carretera que es Guaymas-Chihuahua, que nos va a permitir atraer a todo el turismo de Chihuahua, igual mover todas las cargas del puerto por vía terrestre. Y también vamos a tener, no menos importante, muchas empresas hoteleras que van a detonar el turismo y también el turismo inmobiliario. En el municipio estamos dando todas las facilidades para que se instalen, porque San Carlos tiene que despuntar. Estamos muy agradecidos con todo lo que tenemos en Guaymas y los queremos invitar. Mucho gusto de saludar a los hermanos de mesa por aquí. Estoy muy contenta de verlos y sobre todo de que hemos hecho un excelente trabajo en equipo. Vamos a estar en poco tiempo mucho mejor que en décadas en el municipio de Guaymas. Por eso agradezco al gobernador Alfonso Durazo y al presidente López Obrador facilitarme el camino para que Guaymas y Sonora tengan mucho que ofrecerle a Arizona. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Mayor Cordova. And now, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Ray Molnar, Council Member of the City of Glendale, to the podium for his presentation. Council Member Molnar currently serves as Vice Chair of the Maricopa Association of Government Economic Development Committee. He has owned and operated a local business for the past 21 years, following a career in accounting and financial management and the United Parcel Service. He took office in 2015 to represent Glendale's Saguaro District. Welcome, Council Member. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, buenos tardes. I'm really happy to be here today. And I want to thank certain people in the audience, namely Dave Luna. He's the one that got me engaged in Ari-Son when I was on as a member of the Economic Development Committee for MAG. He introduced me to it, encouraged me to get involved, and here I am today. So what I want to talk about, what does Glendale have to do with Sonora or with Mexico? What I want to do is talk a little bit about the topics of our discussion here, which is, the first one is tourism. I go ahead and go to the, do I click this or does somebody else do it for me? Is this it? Oh, wrong way. There we go. So tourism. So we do have bright skies and desert, but we don't have a lot of water. So but we are bringing some water to Glendale with some of our destinations. The city-owned Desert Diamond Arena this year had a record in attendance, highest grossing month ever in the May of 2022. Really has, the pandemic really did create a windfall for entertainment district here in Glendale. And so we're really seeing a big windfall with that. Now, Vi Resort, I don't have a picture of that, but Vi Resort is going to be a resort with the largest number of hotel rooms. It's going to be just south of here, about a half a mile, quarter mile actually. It's going to have a lake that will be a swimming lake with white beaches, 13 elevated dining, 360-degree stage concert, 52,000 square foot of island with a center point, a very unique 60-acre entertainment area. And very much like my sister city to the south, a great opportunity for residents from our Sonora neighbors to come and enjoy. Now, what we have in addition to that, which will draw them here, of course, is our State Farm Stadium, which boasts concerts, events, a lot of events going on at the stadium. Last year we held the Gold Cup, or was it this year? The Gold Cup, and I'm sure we'll have more of those. And that draws a very large Mexican crowd to Glendale. We'll be hosting our third Super Bowl next February. And then, of course, we hosted our second Final Four in 2024. And there's many other events that will be continuing to go on that provide a great opportunity for our friends from Sonora to come and visit Glendale. And likewise, we will come and visit your cities because it sounds like we have a lot in common. And I think tourism is a great opportunity for both our cities to really gain some perspective of each other. Westgate, of course, that's where we are right now. This started as a hayfield, basically, about 18 years ago. This was a hayfield. And now you see what it has turned into. We have a large entertainment district, and we continue to grow. We have additional entities, as you see there, that are coming into the facility. We are at capacity. It's a great opportunity if you're coming to a concert or to a game to explore Westgate, Tanger Outlet, and Top Golf, which is across the street, and many other facilities that are within our city boundaries. Of course, for those who have a flavor for wanting to leave some of their money at the casino or maybe take some home, we have a Desert Diamond Casino, again, which is just to the north of here. That is easy access. We do have transportation that travels between here and the casino and other places within the city. Tanger Outlet I mentioned already. One thing I'd like to talk about next is economic development. Now, I'm going to show you a slide here. You'll go, well, what's that all about? So we have had some economic growth in Glendale, and you go, wow, that doesn't look so impressive. You got a few car dealerships. But let me tell you, here's what I want to tell you. Glendale is experiencing unprecedented growth that is well beyond forecasts. The Loop 101 and the 303 areas of Glendale welcome residential, commercial, hospitality, and industrial development. Over the last 2 years, we have had more square footage of development than the prior 108 years. Let me repeat that. In the last 2 years, we have had 22 million square feet of development. From 1910 to 2018, we had 16 million square feet of development. So what I'm saying to all you folks out there from Mexico is that there are opportunities here for your businesses. We are building a huge complex of industrial and commercial that is unprecedented. Recently, an article emphasized that 50% of all the industrial and commercial development was happening in Glendale this year. 50% of the entire valley. I don't want to take away from my Mesa friends or from my Phoenix friends, but nevertheless, it is our turn, and I want to invite all those here to look into Glendale as a destination for your business. We also, of course, have our well, I can't remember the name, the tax credit entity. What's it called? Foreign Trade Zone. Thank you. I don't know, my mind couldn't think of that. Foreign Trade Zone. So we have a foreign trade zone in Glendale, and we welcome those who want to come in and take a look at what that can provide, both in property tax incentives and others. There's a lot of opportunities going on right now in Glendale, and there will be many opportunities, I think, for businesses from our southern neighbors to bring in, if they're looking for expanding into the United States. Glendale is a great additional opportunity, in addition to what you already know. I mean, we've heard from Phoenix, all the great things they're doing, and I know Dave has talked about all the things they did over the last 2 years. I've heard him talk about the great things that are happening in Mesa. So there's a lot of things now, I think, going on. Oh, time's over? I'm not done yet. Okay. She told me she was going to do that to me, and I told her I'd talk until she put the sign up. So let's see if I've got any more things there. Oh, education. Well, our panel's going to talk about job opportunities. You know, Glendale, again, is very rich in job training and job creation through our economic development, and we need the education end of it in order to fill those jobs. And this is only a tenth of what I was going to tell you. But there's a lot of opportunities in education in the city of Glendale and the surrounding area. And I'm speaking for the West Valley, not just for the city of Glendale. The entire West Valley, our cities of Goodyear, Avondale, Tolleson, Peoria, Buckeye, all have great things going on. The West Valley is an opportunity for all of the folks here to take a look at and see what else is available for your enterprises to expand and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Malnar. Mayor of Agua Prieta Jesus Montaño, could not be with us today. Unfortunately, a key member of his staff passed away this morning. Our condolences to the mayor and the city of Agua Prieta for their loss. Mayor Jesus Montaño has shared this video of the city of Agua Prieta for us to enjoy.
Somos una ciudad que está en la frontera de todo sin ser el límite de nada, donde el viento traspasa el cuerpo y el sol abraza el alma, donde todo se mueve y aún así decimos que no pasa nada, donde lo de afuera es más apreciado y a veces nos cuesta ver lo bueno que hay en casa. Un lugar en el que antes, ahora y siempre abrimos los brazos a todo el mundo, venga de donde venga y salga de donde salga. Una ciudad de héroes sin habla, que usa el ingenio, el pincel y la palabra, donde se escribieron gloriosas y épicas batallas, y hemos convertido en arte la lucha, el trabajo y la esperanza. Donde el pasado, el presente y el futuro conviven y se fusionan con lo que se encuentra al otro lado. Soy montaña, soy belleza, soy triunfo y soy esfuerzo, y el heredero de un alma revolucionaria. Soy ejemplo de tránsito y de frontera, donde el hermano es sagrado y se le lleva en el alma. Tengo los brazos abiertos para quererte, lleno de vida o con la piel cuarteada, para decirle al mundo que con lo bueno y lo malo somos de aquí, de Agua Prieta, donde tenemos mucho de ayer, mucho de hoy y un gran mañana.
Our next participant is the mayor of the Oro Valley, Joe Wilfield. Mayor Wilfield began his term in 2018. He is registered landscape architect. He worked for 32 years for the National Park Service. Mayor Wilfield, you have the floor right now.
Thank you for that warm welcome, and I'm ready to go to Guaymas. You know, we're here talking about tourism and economic development, and if you look around the room, this is, to a certain extent, what tourism looks like, right? In many sense, many of us are tourists here. We're away from our homes. We've driven here. Some of you may have flown. We are staying at a local hotel, perhaps in this resort. We may have ate at a restaurant. My wife and I went over to the outlets yesterday. I'm sporting a new belt that I purchased while I'm here. So that's really what this is about, right? It's bringing people to experience our communities. And each of our communities have so much to offer. Of course, our part is to, So, you know, our part is understanding and forecasting demand, creating stakeholder networks, developing adequate strategies for a thriving community-based tourism footprint. As this quote illustrates, and I won't take time to read it, but it was a quote from 1905 that in many ways is so relevant today when we're talking about tourism. Each of us need to answer the questions about the why, the how, and what. Why, of course, we focus a lot on the non-resident revenue. For example, like I said, my wife and I ate at a local restaurant. I purchased a belt. That's revenue that left my community of the town of Oro Valley and came here to the town of Glendale, which I'm happy to do. So, you know, the how is how do we stitch together our unique experiences as illustrated in some of these videos of Agua Prieta and Guaymas. And then the what is to offer the lodging, such as this facility, and then some of the wonderful opportunities that each of our communities have to offer. Through these special experiences, tourists or ourselves, we get a better sense of the local values and traditions of those communities. We have a memorable and authentic experience, And then naturally, we want to share that as we go back home with our neighbors, family, and friends. And so we become, in a sense, ambassadors for that community, for Glendale, for Guaymas, for Agua Prieta, or wherever we may have visited. If we've had a positive experience, of course, we naturally want to tell others. So as we look at the forecasting or demand of tourism, we have to understand a little bit of where we've been. And of course, with the pandemic, it certainly hurt the tourism industry. We saw in the first quarter of 2020 some significant downturn in the tourism industry. For Arizona tourism, we saw a 31% decrease in overnight visitors and 41% decrease in travel spending. Locally, for where I come from in Pima County, we saw significant declines in these different economic sectors. Downturns in direct travel spending, downturn in local tax receipts, employment, accommodations, food service spending, and earnings. Of course, we're beginning now to see this turn around, and fortunately, we're seeing in these various areas improvements. In creating strategies for the future, we have to understand the traveler's purpose. And as we see in this particular chart, for a great majority of tourists, the purpose of their trip was visiting friends and relatives. And you can just think about your own experiences, traveling experiences, and how many of those are connected to visiting a family or friend. We also, in Arizona, we see that we get a lot of our travelers from within Arizona itself. And a lot of these visitors coming from Arizona are repeat visitors or have visited in the last 12 months. Our guests come to our region for outdoor activities and entertainment. They may prefer to drive, which probably the majority of you drove here to Glendale. Our travel partners have worked hard to message safe outdoor family experiences. So how do we message? How do we extend the messaging to our guests from Mexico? What is the snapshot of the Mexican tourist, and what is the demand? And so the demand is significant. We see that of our international visitors, 50% of those are coming from Mexico. And so that's a wonderful market for us. Leisure travel is driving, is their visitation driving or visitation purpose. I'm looking at the sign that's telling me my time's over, so it's got me a little discombobulated. But, and of course, you can see on there some additional information. So, you know, we want to, well, I'm going to just end by saying we welcome a continued dialogue of collaboration. We look forward to working with your communities and those within the state of Arizona and beyond to provide greater tourism community-based experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Winfield. And now we will begin the panel conversation. Please remember to keep your answer to 2 or 3 minutes for each question. Here's the first question. What are relevant tourism-related events or activities taking place in your area, and how do they contribute to recover the city's revenues from the COVID-19 regional economic downturn? Carla, you're the first. ¿Eres la primera presidenta municipal?
Okay. Muchas gracias. Los eventos importantes que se están llevando en Guaymas, primeramente es la ampliación del puerto, el cual ya está listo en el tema de todas, ya están las empresas que van a iniciar con todos los trabajos. Esto es que si a la semana se moviera una carga de mercancía por ahí, un barco, se va a estar haciendo todo el trabajo para que se muevan 10 barcos por semana. Entonces esa carga es muy importante y esto va a traer muchísimo empleo tanto en Guaymas y en Sonora. Otra cosa que se está trabajando es ese proyecto de llevar vuelos a Guaymas que estén conectados con Arizona y con la Ciudad de México. Ese trabajo lo trae la Secretaría de Turismo junto con el gobernador. Y también recibimos una gran noticia en una reciente visita del presidente a Guaymas, que van a arreglar el aeropuerto para tener un aeropuerto de turismo internacional. Entonces eso va a ser muy bueno para estar más conectados. También nosotros hemos estado trabajando en el tema del bienestar social para que, a pesar de la pandemia, en nuestro país no tuvimos una baja pues en el tema de los servicios básicos o la alimentación. Al contrario, el trabajo de bienestar es muy importante para las políticas que estamos implementando y por eso se ha dado ayuda alimentaria a todas las personas que se vieron afectados por la pandemia. Es muy importante recalcar que el estado de bienestar de las personas significa tener un municipio rico. Los municipios son ricos primeramente por su gente y después todos los demás elementos. Entonces, si tenemos a personas afectadas por la pandemia, que se han quedado sin empleo, o todos esos hospitales que tuvieron muchas pérdidas, y el gobierno contribuye a su bienestar dando becas, apoyos económicos, apoyos alimentarios, eso te mantiene en la isoeléctrica y ayuda infinitamente a toda la población. Gracias.
Gracias, Presidenta Municipal. Next, Council Member Malnar, it's your time.
My time. All right, thank you. You know, just like the rest of the world, Glendale suffered significantly during the downturn and the pandemic. Our tourism fell, our restaurants, of course, just like everywhere else, weren't being visited, and so we did lose a lot economically during the pandemic. However, as I mentioned earlier, it's been a whirlwind since the pandemic kind of ended, and people are coming out, and I think you're finding this all over the world. People are engaged, they're coming out, they want to, and that's why I think Carla's residents will enjoy coming to Glendale, our residents will enjoy going there, because we want to get out, we want to see the world, we want to do things. So we have recovered very nicely. Part of the reason economically we sustained our growth and everything else during the pandemic was because of the council decision to push commercial and industrial growth in our West Valley along the 303 corridor. And like I say, we have now 22 million square feet built or under construction in the planning stages along that corridor. And those are going to bring a lot of job opportunities to the city of Glendale and the surrounding area. But as a result of that, the sales tax sustained us. The construction sales tax sustained us during those downturns from construction. And so we didn't really suffer a downturn. Our revenues actually increased during the pandemic because of that strategy of bringing in industrial to the city of Glendale. As I mentioned earlier, the Glendale owned arena it has had record-breaking attendance. The May 9th through the 21st, we had 63,000 guests hosting 5 premier, including Pearl Jam, Eric's Church, Snoop and Dogg, Ice Cube, Stars on Ice, Premier Boxing Champions, and several other stars who have come in. And it's really been awesome to see that growth. And again, I want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a entertainment destination for everyone in the Valley, as well as everyone from Sonora. That this is a place that they can come and enjoy entertainment, enjoy what's here in Glendale, and we're also going to work on our airport and make it better. So, thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. Same question.
Yeah.
It's your turn,
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you. So as I mentioned, what our data tells us is that the visitors that come to our region really come for two primary purposes, and that is to experience outdoor recreation and entertainment. Now, Tuesday evening was a good example of entertainment here in Glendale. There was a concert just next door, and there were thousands of people that came for that entertainment, right? In Oro Valley, we don't have that kind of venue, but what we do have is some wonderful outdoor experiences. We have golf, we have tennis, we have pickleball, we have miles of both paved and non-paved trails. We have the National Scenic Arizona Trail that goes from the southern boundary with Mexico and Arizona to the northern boundary of Arizona and Utah. We have world-class mountain biking, and these are the kinds of outdoor activities that we are capitalizing on. We have Catalina State Park that is within our community. We have Coronado National Forest that is to the east of us, again with all kinds of outdoor recreational offerings. This was a real benefit to our community because during the pandemic, what were people looking to do? They were looking to recreate and to go outdoors, and so we were able to capitalize on that. And that's something that brings those folks back. They had such a great experience either biking or hiking or playing golf. I talk to residents all the time that was their introduction to our community, and then they have come back over the years, and then many of them eventually have moved to live permanently in Oro Valley. So outdoor recreation and entertainment are key elements of bringing folks to our community.
Thank you, Mayor. Second question, could you share about economic development strategies you are implementing to attract investment to your area? Also, what are the programs available to support entrepreneurship, business expansion, and retention? Start with the council member first.
Oh, thank you. I think I've answered this already in part, but really it was a matter of creating a policy by the council. We met for 2 years, 2016 and 2017, to develop a strategy of what we wanted to see. Most of the development is happening around the Luke Air Force Base, which has contours that we call that you can't build certain things in it. For example, housing wouldn't be allowed around these contours because of the noise that the F-16s and 35s create. So therefore, we came up with a strategy of how we can get that land developed and encourage development, and what our goal is to create good-paying jobs. So that was our goal, to create good-paying jobs. And so with that, we met for about 2 years. We came out of those sessions, long sessions, many full-day sessions, and we had a strategy that now has been implemented. And since 2018, we've seen absolutely an incredible growth as a result of that strategy. So that's what we've mainly done with economic development. But then we turned back to this area, the West Gate area. There are a lot of parcel. This is basically farmland, or it was 20 years ago. It was nothing but farmland. And as a result of that, we created a strategy to develop that farmland into usable space for economic development. And so you're seeing a lot of residential, because residential supports an entertainment district, but a lot of entertainment going on in this area. So that was, again, part of our strategy, and part of that whole process, you've all heard that the coyotes are no longer in the city of Glendale. For some, it may be a sore topic, but for us, it was an economic decision. It wasn't working well for us economically. Now we have an arena that can go full bore with concerts and other activities. Before, we had about 150 days taken out of our year that were not available for that kind of event. So that is kind of where we've gone with our strategy. The entertainment district, the 303 corridor, and all the land in between, the hundreds of thousands of acres in between. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. It's your turn, Mayor Joe Winfield.
I think key for the town of Oro Valley in terms of economic development has been a real keen focus on kind of the four pillars of government, and it's creating a community, a quality of life where, of course, people want to live, and naturally, where people want to live, businesses want to come in and support that community, and then people want to visit that community. So, for example, public safety has been a priority for the town of Oro Valley, and we were just ranked the safest community in Arizona. That's meaningful to our residents, but also to visitors who come to the community and feel safe as they are there for a variety of leisure activities. Focusing on just the basics of having good roads and good infrastructure. Also, we've made significant investments in our parks and recreation, and that also addresses some of the interest that we have in bringing people tourism opportunities through various tournaments, whether that's golf tournaments or tennis tournaments, soccer. So we've been investing significantly in our parks and recreation program, about $25 million. We've also had a real focus on land use and design guidelines. We've made some changes to our zoning and permitting to streamline for businesses to come in. Last year we saw a 12% increase in our businesses. 30 new businesses came to the town of Oro Valley, and a lot of that was because of the appeal of the quality of life. And as I mentioned, as people come to Oro Valley, whether it's to visit, they experience the parks and recreation, they have that wonderful feeling of safety, and then they want to be a part of that. So focusing on those four pillars have really been critical to the economic development success of Oro Valley.
Thank you, Mayor Winfield. You have the honor to close this panel. Mayor Carla Córdoba, adelante, por favor.
Muy bien, muchísimas gracias. Listo, ok. Bueno, nosotros lo que hemos hecho para retener a los negocios en Guaymas, primeramente, hemos trabajado de una forma sin parar, pero no ha sido fácil, en el cambio en que desaprendan los funcionarios municipales, sobre todo los que ya tienen muchísimo tiempo, y sean amigables con los empresarios que llegan a obtener sus permisos al municipio. También queremos hacer que el trámite no sea mayor sufrimiento en el municipio que en un banco para obtener un crédito. Es muy importante la atención que les demos a todos los inversionistas. Les hemos dado donaciones de terreno a empresas que van a terminar en APP, en un modelo gobierno del estado, municipio y inversión privada para que lleguen las empresas a este municipio. También hemos buscado que los empresarios desaprendan y vuelvan a aprender, porque es muy importante, sobre todo en el área de San Carlos, donde tenemos 4 reservas ecológicas importantes en nuestro municipio, que no podemos otorgar permisos para que acaben, no podemos otorgar permisos que acaben con, no podemos otorgar permisos que acaben con las reservas ecológicas. Eso ha sido un reto muy grande y muy difícil, porque te llegan con proyectos millonarios de turismo inmobiliario y les dices, bueno, definitivamente no podemos darte el permiso de construcción para que acabes con las reservas ecológicas del municipio, que terminan de embellecerlo, y pues es un duro boxeo, se puede decir, porque la presión es muy fuerte, y mi función como presidenta municipal es cuidar la reserva ecológica antes que los intereses de los empresarios, pero al mismo tiempo ofertarles otras áreas donde puedan realizar sus proyectos. También nosotros buscamos una ciudad con servicios públicos de calidad. Aunque tenemos empresas de clase mundial, en el municipio no tenemos una armonía con los servicios públicos. Recibimos un municipio en una emergencia brutal en el tema de la recolección de residuos sólidos urbanos, donde estábamos con una empresa que era una concesión y que no cumplía con su contrato y decidimos municipalizarlo y ahorita estamos bien. Estamos trabajando en el tema del drenaje junto con el gobierno del estado y que no falte el agua para que todos quieran llegar a vivir a Guaymas e instalarse con servicios públicos de calidad. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Mayor. Thank you so much for sharing this panel, and thank you for sharing your experience and your comments about the very important issues for the economic and tourism. Thank you so much, and what's next?
Gracias.
Okay.
I'm next. What a great discussion with our panelists and our moderator. Thank you so much. The Ari-Son Council thanks you for the information provided, and we would like to present each of you with a certificate of appreciation for your participation here today. If you can stay on stage and we can take a photo, and I would like to begin with our first Mayor, Mayor Joe Winfield. Councilmember Ray Melnar. Mayor Carla Cordova. And of course, our moderator, David Figueroa. You want to go? Okay.
Squeeze in, but don't knock us off.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, to continue our meeting, I would like to introduce to you Mark Sanders, Director of International Affairs of the Arizona Department of Transportation, and Diego Ledgard, Binational Projects Director, Secretary of Infrastructure and Urban Development of the State of Sonora. Welcome, directors. We look forward to hearing from you your Arizona-Sonora Border Master Plan update.
Thank you, Mayor Hermosillo, Ari-Son. Thank you, Elsa, for all your hard work putting this together. Good afternoon, buenas tardes a todas y a todos. I want to thank you all for having us here to present. I also want to thank our friends from Sonora. Your hospitality last week during our delegation meeting to Hermosillo was fantastic. Thank you, Luis Ramirez and David Figueroa, for coordinating this. And David has been a tremendous ally for us between Arizona and Sonora, but I wish he would stay up longer at night to take my pressing phone calls. Okay, next. So what is the Border Infrastructure Master Plan? Basically, this is a study. It's an outline that tells us where we are on the border and what we're going to need on the border when it comes to infrastructure, communication, and our roadmaps. The most important fact about this plan that no one knows about is this plan is necessary for the State Department, FHWA, for them to consider us for funding for future projects. But the only way that this is considered for future funding is if our Sonoran counterparts are working in conjunction with us. That has never been a problem because the best relationship on the border between the United States and Arizona is, United States and Mexico is Sonora and Arizona for years running, so we have no problem with that at all. The original master plan was published in 2013. As you can imagine, a lot has happened in those years. Actually, a lot has happened in the last 2 years, so it was very needed to bring this back to life. Now, to update this, what we do is we update the existing plan. We look at our current infrastructure, our roadways, our communication with our roadways, our goods and services, commerce, which is very important, but safety is our number one goal too before anything. So it is very important that this update gets done as soon as possible. This is the focus area that we have, both in Sonora and the United States. Some of it's a 10-mile radius, and some of it's 25-mile radius, depending on the areas that we're studying. This is the area of influence. This is what we see as how it will impact the area in the region when this study is completed. But if you ask me, this shade will go all the way down to the end of Mexico and all the way up to Canada, because the goods and services that we provide with things that come across the border are infinite. People don't realize how they get a tomato on the table in Idaho, how they get lettuce in New York. It all comes from what we do here, and it's very important to outline that. We have two different committees that we work with to advise us during our process. One's the Policy Advisory Committee, known as the PAC. This is a binational executive level agency managers committee. They guide us as far as what the region needs, what their necessities are, and what they like to prioritize. Then we have a technical working group, which then advises the PAC of what is the most pressing infrastructure and concerns that they have within the region as well. This is a graph you're not going to be able to see, but it basically just shows you how we prioritize the land ports of entry. We do a criteria, we evaluate it, and see how we're going to take this to the national level, to DC and Sonora to SRE. This is the multimodal infrastructure, the same model we use, which we'll use in this current study as well. Lessons learned from the last one: more meetings than anticipated. Logistics has been huge. If you look at this list right now, there's one common denominator. That's communication and working together. As I mentioned, it's not a problem with Sonora. We have such a good relationship. We are lucky. California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas has a border master plan. I think ours is the most effortless one with the great relationship we have with our partners in the South. New considerations, a lot has happened. Health and safety, weather impacts. Of course, we all know about the supply chain disruptions that we never expected. The pandemic completely turned everything upside down. All the studies I did before that, I can throw out the window, because basically none of them work anymore. Innovation and continuity of operations. I want to brag a little bit about Arizona and Sonora for one fact. We're not just brick and mortar. We are known as the innovation partnership on the border. I'm going to give you a great example before I move on. During the pandemic, we noticed that our officers on the border were getting sick, and we were running extremely thin. COVID attacked them very highly, and we could not figure out what was going on. We did studies, we went to the border. It was a transmission of currency and money for permits, coming across the border, and all the interaction they had with our partners. What we did is we established an online permitting service, which no cash or money would come across exchanging hands. Our numbers went completely down. We reinforced the border. Our officers were working with us. And one thing happened that we never expected, and this is the best part about the story besides the health of our officers. During the peak season in the old system, without online permitting, it would take about 30 minutes for a truck driver to cross the border, get into offices, pull out paperwork, and pay for permits. With this process in peak season, that went down to 25 seconds. So you can imagine, time is everything with commerce and logistics. This is the favorite part about my study, because everyone says, great, another 5,000-page study by the government that'll go on the shelf, and nothing's gonna come out of this. Well, these projects I'm gonna show you right now came from the last border master plan. Right now, in San Luis Rio Colorado, we just got given $267 million for the renovation of San Luis Port of Entry. Great benefit for that region. Thank you, San Luis. Douglas two-port solution, $400 million. The modernization of Raul H. Castro, and a new commercial port of entry just 5 miles west of this port, just for commercial purposes, state-of-the-art, going to be the best probably commercial port in the nation very soon. The Raul H. Castro port of entry, it was extremely dangerous because of the mining hazards coming northbound into the town. This is all going to be diverted to the commercial areas. Going to be a great economic development opportunity for Douglas Agua Prieta. Nogales de Concini, a very outdated port. We just were given $500,000 for a feasibility study. This port literally sits on the border entry. It's not 9/11 safe. It's going to be pushed north probably about 100 to 500 feet to make sure that we are operating securely. We have big flood problems as well, and it's going to be addressed. State Route 189, a big mile marker. We finished this. It was finished in March 2022. The director of ADOT, in conjunction with other federal agencies during the pandemic, said we're not going to stop. We finished under budget and under time. Now we have stakeholder outreach plans. We have surveys, methods, we have websites, focus groups, and coordinating with milestones. All this happens in the background. This is about an 18 to 2-year study. Key dates, just for you guys to see what we're working on right now. Currently, next week, the big thing on the 7th, we have a San Luis stakeholder meeting to go over the border master plan and get stakeholder feedback. Next steps, this is what we're gonna do next, the distribute the work plan, distribute stakeholder outreach plan, which we're almost completed with. This is exciting. This is our website, real time, gives you guys information of what's happening in the border master plan, lets you see inputs, where we're at, and you can also go in there and see what you can contribute with. I love this one. This is our project mapping. You can actually go in there, click on the map, and it'll show you the projects we're working on, photos, and what the progress is. Stakeholder survey, that'll be going out to everyone as well. And before I finish, I want to conclude that you heard great data here about, trade numbers, tourism, back and forth to both countries. But you have to sit and consider that without the mechanism for this to go between both countries, which is the infrastructure, the ports of entry, the security, the collaboration with Sonora, Arizona, that stays in each other's countries. We wouldn't be where we're at right now without these kind of studies and this kind of infrastructure. So please keep an eye out for the study. We're hoping to get more funding and more contribution to the border region. Thank you.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Gracias por la invitación a esta reunión. Es muy importante estas plataformas que nos permiten exponer los proyectos que estamos haciendo en el Estado. Y es muy importante mencionar la colaboración que hemos hecho con el Estado de Arizona, lo que ha permitido que los proyectos en la frontera se empaten y puedan avanzar simultáneamente, o bien la planeación que se haga se esté trabajando en conjunto. Quisiera hablar un poco sobre la visión integral que se está manejando en el gobierno del Estado, impulsado por el gobernador Durazo, en el que si bien son proyectos que se están haciendo, tienen un impacto en la frontera. Se está haciendo la modernización de las aduanas, se han estado haciendo anuncios por parte de la Agencia Nacional de Aduanas de México, por parte del gobernador, el corredor carretero y ferroviario Guaymas-Nogales, que va a conectar todo lo que se esté generando en el puerto de Guaymas y que va a cruzar por Nogales. El mejoramiento del libramiento fiscal de Nogales, que lo tenemos, no está en muy buenas condiciones, por lo que necesita un mejoramiento y un impulso en la operación. Tenemos la ampliación del aeropuerto de Ciudad Obregón, que también tiene un impacto directo a lo que va a ser la zona sur del estado y en Guaymas. La modernización de la carretera Guaymas-Chihuahua, que va a conectar a Chihuahua por la parte de Yécora, entonces va a generar la atracción del turismo hacia el puerto de Guaymas y también de negocios. Y por último, la salida del ferrocarril por Nogales, un libramiento que se está buscando para evitar el cruce por la zona urbana de la ciudad. Bueno, dentro del plan carretero de lo que se está planteando, si se fijan, la mayoría de las inversiones se están generando en el norte del estado, por lo que es muy importante conectar los municipios, liberar también el paso de vehículos de carga de los municipios para generar una mayor fluidez hacia tanto al estado de Baja California como hacia nuestras fronteras. Estamos liberando el tema aquí de Imur y Celaribabi, que es una zona donde hay es una zona de sierra, el libramiento de Cananea, y el impulso que se le va a dar al puerto fronterizo, pues ya liberamos y mejoramos los tiempos en ese sentido. De igual forma, el mejoramiento que se va a dar en el libramiento de Nogales. Tenemos la carretera Altar-Sázabe, que también va a conectar a esta zona del valle con uno de los puertos fronterizos del estado. Vamos a liberar Caborca, Sonovita, San Luis Río Colorado, que va a generar una mayor fluidez hacia el oeste. Y la conexión hacia Puerto Peñasco, mejorar la conexión y tener una mayor seguridad vial. Bueno, se habló un poco de la modernización del puerto de Guaymas y quisiera comentar de forma general que son 11 proyectos los que se están haciendo dentro del puerto de Guaymas y se está haciendo los trabajos de drenaje y alcantarillado en la ciudad, que por el impacto que va a tener el puerto de Guaymas es muy importante que la ciudad también eleve sus servicios para que pueda ofrecer mejores servicios a quienes se van a asentar y la generación de empleo que se va a generar. También en este presupuesto, que es por la Secretaría de Marina de 3.900 millones de pesos, viene la construcción de la carretera Guaymas-Chihuahua, pero solamente se está hablando de esto de una primera etapa. Bueno, son ya más específicos los proyectos que se están trabajando dentro del puerto de Guaymas. Y queremos también hablar de la importancia que hay ahorita en el puerto de Guaymas con el potencial que se tiene. Ahorita estamos hablando que en una primera fase se está modernizando esta parte, pero el potencial que tiene el puerto de Guaymas es para tener un crecimiento en 3 fases, que si ahorita nos vamos a un tema muy específico de lo que se movería es en el tema de, ¿qué es lo que más se habla del tema de los contenedores? En una primera etapa tendríamos 100,000 contenedores, en la siguiente etapa tendríamos 1.5 millones de contenedores, y en la fase 4 tendríamos hasta 3 millones de contenedores. Entonces, si ven, es una etapa progresiva, que esto es lo que va a generar un mayor impulso en Guaymas y la infraestructura que tenemos que crear en Guaymas para que pueda ser posible mover toda esa carga. Bueno, también aunando un poco en el potencial que tenemos en Guaymas de lo que se mueve por ferrocarril. Actualmente se mueven 6 trenes diariamente, en la fase 2 serían 10 trenes, en la fase 2 serían 12 trenes, y en la fase 3 estamos hablando de hasta 24 trenes. Esto solamente lo estamos poniendo en ferrocarril, pero también todo lo que se va a mover por las carreteras. Entonces es muy importante tener en cuenta este potencial que se está viendo para el impulso que se le va a los proyectos. Ya más específico en el tema de los puertos, bueno, son las inversiones que se han anunciado de modernización en cada uno de los puertos. Si bien tenemos a San Luis, Sonoita, Nogales, Agua Prieta y Naco, y son proyectos que se van a empatar con lo que se está trabajando Estados Unidos. Es un total de 5,000 millones, en el que se incluye el Boulevard Benemérito de las Américas y el Boulevard Ferrocarriles en Agua Prieta. Bueno, eso es un poco de los proyectos que se han estado trabajando y se han estado empatando con los proyectos que están en Estados Unidos. Rápidamente mencionar aquí el tema de los puertos, muchas veces es el tema de los predios. Entonces, actualmente el predio es más chico, el polígono federal es más chico el que tenemos, entonces se adquirieron todos esos terrenos para hacer la modernización y poder empatarlo con lo que se está haciendo en San Luis. Bueno, estas son una de las imágenes que estamos, imágenes objetivo de cómo sería el puerto, con una inversión total de 626 millones de pesos. En Sonoita, pues sabemos que es el turismo es lo más importante en Sonoita, sabemos que es la vocación de este puerto, ya que van a Puerto Peñasco. Entonces aquí se está planeando una inversión de 808 millones de pesos con la modernización del Boulevard Benemérito de las Américas para poder tener un carril Sentry y poder agilizar los tiempos. En Nogales, de igual forma, se están trabajando más proyectos en específico, no un reordenamiento como se está manejando en otros puertos, como en San Luis, por ejemplo, pero lo que se está dando mayor importancia aquí en el tema de Nogales es mejorar el área de exportaciones, el área de seguridad nacional y el área de peatones. Y aparte los problemas que se tienen de agua, lo que se está buscando es una solución de elevar con plataformas los edificios y evitar las inundaciones que se generan. Y en Agua Prieta, pues bueno, es muy importante que se está haciendo el segundo puerto fronterizo. Estados Unidos ya tiene definido el punto y el predio que se va a donar. De igual forma, nosotros ya tenemos destinados, son terrenos de un particular, pero que se está haciendo una donación para hacer el puerto fronterizo. Son 22.5 hectáreas y la conexión de la carretera federal número 2 hacia el puerto fronterizo. Este es un punto que ya está aprobado, solamente falta que se, formalice esta donación al polígono federal para poder empezar a hacer los proyectos. La inversión total para Agua Prieta, que sería la remodelación de Agua Prieta 1, la construcción de Agua Prieta 2, son de 1,022 millones de pesos. Bueno, y en Naco, de igual forma no es tanto un reordenamiento, es más que nada un mantenimiento y mejoramiento de las instalaciones. Y bueno, con lo que hablaba Mark Sanders del plan maestro de infraestructura fronteriza que se está haciendo, La semana pasada nos visitó la delegación de Arizona y se firmó el primer MOU en esta administración para trabajar coordinadamente los proyectos de la frontera. Entonces ya estamos viendo las voluntades políticas también para trabajar en conjunto y para poder empatar los proyectos. Y de manera muy general, hablar sobre el corredor logístico comercial seguro que se está impulsando, el cómo vamos a mover toda la carga que se tiene de Guaymas hacia Nogales, y bueno, últimamente se ha estado abriendo la conversación con Sinaloa para que Nogales sea el puerto fronterizo de Sinaloa. Todos los productos que pasen por aquí pasen seguros por el estado de Sonora y crucen ágilmente por Nogales. Y ese es un corredor que se está impulsando a través de tecnología, inspección conjunta, certificaciones e infraestructura vial. Bueno, sería todo por mi parte. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Director Sanders and Ledgar. The infrastructure plan is very important to our binational trade, and we appreciate the great effort conducted by your organizations to improve its effectiveness. We would like to present each of you with a certificate of appreciation for all the work that you do, and I was instructed that the picture will be downstage. We are now reaching the last portion of this year's meeting, and I have the great pleasure of introducing Secretary Villa. Mr. Armando Villa is the State of Sonora's Secretary of Economy, and Mr. Villa leads the State of Sonora efforts to increase opportunities for investment attraction and for local business to expand and create more jobs. He is a sustainability enthusiast and has managed large gas and clean energy projects across the state. Please see his full bio for his impressive background that is also provided to you on the documents on your table. We are honored to have you as our closing speaker, Mr. Secretary Villa. You have the floor.
Gracias. Pues la verdad es que es un gran foro, es un gran evento para el acercamiento entre dos grandes estados, entre una gran megaregión. Quiero decirles que el gobernador de Sonora, el doctor Alfonso Durazo, les envía un afectuoso y caluroso abrazo a cada una y a cada uno de ustedes. Ando un poquito fónico, Arizona y Sonora conforman una megaregión. La naturaleza y la historia nos tienen bien marcados. Nuestros lazos son para siempre. Somos de buenos hermanos. Somos hombres y mujeres que siempre hemos participado en trabajo conjunto para lograr el beneficio de siempre la clase trabajadora. Mis compañeros, mis compañeras ya han presentado la gran fortaleza que tiene el Estado. No sé si van a dar 2 o 3 minutos, a lo mejor me alcanza para dar el saludo y mi nombre, pero pues yo creo que sí, gracias. Aquí tenemos ahorita entre nosotros a nuestra alcaldesa de Guaymas, que presentó tan atinadamente la fortaleza que presenta el puerto. Tenemos Caborca, tenemos otros municipios representados por compañeras que vienen aquí. Seguramente si les dieran la oportunidad hubieran presentado también igual la fortaleza que tiene cada uno de sus ayuntamientos en lo que es los temas comerciales, turísticos. Sonora tiene, les quiero comentar, 1,200 kilómetros de litoral. Es un litoral muy extenso, el cual podremos, gracias, el cual ponemos a disposición para todo aquel inversionista, aquella empresa que quiera llegar a nuestro estado a potencializar sus industrias, sus turismos. Tenemos varios puertos, entre ellos Guaymas, Yavaros, Puerto Libertad, Peñasco, etcétera. Tenemos playas de verdad de ensueño, de película. Lugares turísticos de montaña y ríos. Tenemos ganadería, tenemos una industria creciente y constante. Tenemos, a la cual próximamente también le vamos a invitar a una feria de lo que es el atraer a proveedurías para las nuevas industrias que están llegando. La minería, que tenemos el primer lugar a nivel nacional en nuestro país. Gran potencial de agricultura, en donde contamos con mucho oro, plata, litio, cobre, zinc, grafito. Tenemos pesca en nuestro extenso litoral. Tenemos excelentes universidades reconocidas a nivel mundial. Me voy a basar más aquí en algunos apuntes que hice. Vamos a seguir pasando mientras las láminas, por favor. En conjunto podremos trabajar en una alianza para fortalecer a las unidades de empleo en ambos lados. Podremos generar prosperidad al tener las condiciones para su instalación. Fomentaremos las grandes oportunidades de desarrollo para ambos estados y sus sectores empresariales, con una mejor logística de trabajo en conjunto. El gobierno del estado, que encabeza nuestro gobernador Alfonso Durazo, el cual tiene una voluntad y una capacidad de gestión inigualable, tiene una energía que ya la quisiéramos tener todos juntos. De verdad que es un hombre de mucha lucha y de muchas inquietudes para que Sonora crezca y sea un estado con empleo sostenible y unas oportunidades que de verdad pueda brindarse a cualquier inversionista. En nuestro departamento de mejoras regulatorias hemos reducido la cantidad de trámites para la instalación de nuevas empresas hasta de un 50%. La tarea que tenemos no es fácil. Había unos engorrosos trámites hasta de 32 gestiones y cada una tenía sus elementos ahí. Hoy ya estamos contando con acuerdos, con convenios en áreas federales, municipales y estatales hasta de un 50% en su reducción. En infraestructura, pues mi compañero ya acaba de demostrar lo que se está haciendo, lo que se está mejorando, lo que se está trabajando para que el Estado tenga y cuente con aquella infraestructura que pueda ser capaz de albergar aquellas instalaciones de empresas que están llegando y que están tocando la puerta en Sonora. Y la están tocando en todas partes, no nada más están yendo a una sola ciudad. Están en Hermosillo, Guaymas, San Carlos, dentro del mismo Guaymas, en la empresa turística. Están en Obregón, Navojoa, Puerto Peñasco, Caborca, en el sector minero. Hablar de Guaymas es hablar de oportunidades, al igual que en Peñasco y al igual que cada una de las áreas de gran turismo. Los invitamos a invertir porque estamos creando las infraestructuras para potencializar sus inversiones a mayor valor. Las carreteras estatales y de conexión serán amplias para su seguridad y confort del turismo, así como del mercado general en su desarrollo comercial. Sonora y Arizona es una oportunidad porque trabajar en conjunto, siempre en orden y de siempre amigos, con el ecosistema podremos lograr aquellos resultados que estamos esperando de forma sostenible. En Sonora se construye la segunda planta solar más grande de Latinoamérica. Amén de que ya tenemos otras instalaciones de plantas solares en Puerto Libertad, en Empalme, en el municipio de Hermosillo, etcétera, Santana. Estas plantas solares dan entrada a una nueva área de oportunidades también para Sonora. Aquellos que quieran acercarse a invertir en esas plantas solares, también estamos con toda la facilidad que le podemos brindar. Tenemos la infraestructura creciendo. El gobierno de Sonora tiene instalado en Arizona ahorita una representación para enlazar las empresas a los inversionistas y todo aquel ciudadano que quiera tener algún acercamiento con nuestro gobierno o alguna inquietud. Nuestro titular es David Figueroa, que muchos de aquí ya lo conocen, y que atinadamente el gobernador nombró para esta gran gestión que está haciendo David. En el agua estamos estructurando un proyecto sostenible para el aprovechamiento y ahorro de líquido en un plan estratégico a 30 años, como ya lo hizo Arizona. Estamos instalando también plantas de medio mega de energía solar en 50 municipios para beneficio de las comunidades más vulnerables, como un apoyo social y de una economía para ellos. La mano de obra sonorense no puede pasar desapercibida. Tenemos una gran calidad de mano de obra, hemos demostrado nuestra capacidad y la verdad es que les quiero comentar que dentro de los empleos, el comercio con México mantiene 96,000 empleos en Arizona. Iniciaremos de inmediato con la capacitación en compañía de las universidades, de técnicos e ingenieros para abrazar a las nuevas empresas que están llegando y tocando la puerta en Sonora. Estados Unidos es nuestro principal inversionista extranjero en Sonora, con un 87%. Otros tienen el 7%, España el 3%, Canadá el 2% y Reino Unido el 1%. Creo que trabajar en equipo nos ha fortalecido, podemos fortalecernos mucho más. La oportunidad que tenemos de estar cerca, de tenernos uno al otro y estar marcados por la historia de que somos pueblos hermanos. Podemos lograr unos resultados increíbles con estas oportunidades que se están dando de las llegadas de empresas del Medio Oriente. Y se me acabó el tiempo, como le dije. Quiero felicitar al equipo que realizó e hizo posible este evento, que hermana esta gran megaregión ante el gran esfuerzo con excelentes resultados que estamos aquí viendo. La verdad que merecen un fuerte abrazo a todos y todas las que participaron en este gran foro.
Pues gracias por todo. También tenemos un certificado por su participación en este evento y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
Muchas gracias. Igualmente quisiera entregarte otras por tu gran participación.
Una sorpresa, gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Bajamos. I was not expecting that certificate, so that was a really great surprise. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. When they say they need some help, I'm always here to help MAG, especially the Economic Development Committee, which I am a part of, and especially to be part of this relationship building network that is the Ari-Son Council. It's a pleasure, not only because my last name is Hermosillo, but to also be a part of this regional sharing network. So thank you so much. And again, I just want to say some closing words. It has been my pleasure to meet in person to celebrate the importance of our cross-border trade. During my term as chair of the Economic Development Committee of the Maricopa Association of Governments, we hosted the last Ari-Son Council meeting virtually and were able to hear from elected officials from Arizona y Sonora and dignitaries from Canada and Quebec, discussing the North American investment, tourism, and trade in our region. Last June, we conducted the first economic mission in 2 years, and under the invitation and partnership of Hermosillo Mayor Antonio Asiasaran, our delegation of 15 elected officials and regional stakeholders spent 3 days in his beautiful city. During our time there, we were shown great professionalism and warm hospitality by all members of the city council, staff, and economic development team. We hosted a binational nearshoring summit with over 80 business leaders and government officials discussing how to work together and attract investment to our local communities. We extend our gratitude to him and to Councilmember Araque, who also welcomed us so warmly in Hermosillo and for whose participation today we are so grateful for. We believe our infrastructure and ports of entry are essential to increase our trade and reduce wait times for our visitors. Thank you to Mark Sanders and Diego Ledgar for your timely presentations. Today we have gathered again, and it is an honor to hear from fellow elected officials from the great states of Arizona and Sonora how important it is to work together. The motto of the city of El Mirage, which I am the mayor of, is Grand Heritage, Bright Future, and this applies to our relations with the elected officials in Sonora. This is the 9th meeting of our council, and I look forward to celebrating the first 10 years in 2023. Our shared economy has the potential to grow. Our shared culture and heritage bond us together towards making the economic opportunity a reality. Thank you all to everyone who gathered here today to continue the important work of collaborating and building a more prosperous future together. I am so thrilled to be sharing the stage with Secretary Villa, whom I met in Hermosillo. And before we adjourn, I would like to thank the League of Arizona Cities and Towns for hosting this meeting, and thank you to MAG staff and their Arizona and Sonora counterparts in planning this event. We invite you to scan this code to answer the event survey and propose the agenda topics for next year's meeting. Please remember to return your headsets, and with that, we will now adjourn this meeting. And on behalf of the Ari-Son Council, we thank all of the distinguished participants today and encourage everyone to join us again in August of 2023. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.